What is going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Live Before a Lock, presented by Stokastic. I'm Eric Lindquist. You can follow me on X at Eric Lindquist. That's super easy. It's also super easy to love and adore my friend, my co-host, Chris Spags. You follow him at Chris Spags. I can't get some stuff to work on my computer because I'm a dum-dum, but you're technologically literate. I'm generally okay at it. But anywho, we're ready to rock you with the single lineup sim today on today's slate. How you doing, my dude?
Excited to be here. It's fun to have one game wiped off the slate already with
Yeah.
the Atlanta game being postponed because, frankly, I didn't like a lot of that game anyway. So that's going to be a positive thing for me to get that off the slate. But it's an interesting slate to me. Last time I was on a show with Eric, finished in the top 20 in the big tournament on MLB. So I would like to run that forward again today. And I think it's a great slate to play some more crappy pitchers that maybe have good matchups in front of them. At least that's what my lineups look like so far.
Oh, my lineups are abhorrent. They were abhorrent. Then they disappeared on me. But we're ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. We've got ourselves, again, you brought it up right from the get-go, one fewer game to break down. We still have New York and Boston, so we're starting up here at a different time than normal. 5:50 as it stands right now on the East Coast, 2:50 out here on the West Coast. But the Mets and Boston, they get things started, and we will jump all the way through this. But I think the weather looks okay here in Yankee Stadium. I'll be paying attention to that. Anything else that's concerning? Because now that we got Washington off the slate, it makes our lives so much easier.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit worried about the Yankee game. I mean, I think the postponement risk is maybe not the highest in Stokastic's data, so that might be something I should adjust here, but we're on the show, so I may not. But there was enough weather reports out there that seemed not great for the Texas Yankee game, where the rain moving in. I think Mevin Toth had some reports on moto blinders that were maybe not the most favorable for this one. So I kind of took the Atlanta game out of my process. That worked out. Took this game out of my process. And I have to say, DeGrom, to me, with the ownership expected to go his way, he was 33% expected owned in Stokastic's most recent round of data. That's a really important thing here. If you're saying the weather's okay, I don't know. Does the field think the weather's going to be okay? That's a big question I have.
Looks okay. I mean, it's just going to be raining the whole time, but it's nothing severe. It doesn't look bad. I've got a sister-in-law. I texted her like an hour ago. Hey, how's the weather? Because she's like in East Village and she's just chilling. Said it was barely sprinkling. So I don't know. She's not going to the Yankee game. She's a Mets fan. It's kind of weird. How do you come from California and be a Mets fan?
That's true. That's loser behavior right there. Though, they're playing well enough. I still like the Mets this year. I think they're fine. But Yankees, definitely, that's like the front runner team you choose. Like, say it's a lifelong New Yorker. People move there. It's like much easier to fall for the Yankees than the Mets.
Yeah, I don't know. There was this weird thing too. I never watch First Take. But they were having this debate about which team would send New York into pandemonium winning the most. And like 3 people said the Giants. It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Haven't the Giants won multiple championships already in the Eli Manning era? And like the Knicks, it's been like 50 years. What are we talking about here? How are those even comparisons, Chris?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And again, I say that with the New York experience. The Giants have won. It's certainly been a thing in the past where, the Upper East Side gets like all streets packed with people kind of probably close to rioting, not quite rioting. But yeah, Yankees wins different. Knicks wins for the first time. And I mean, they haven't even been to the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years, which is crazy because I was alive when that happened or whatever. So like the fact it's been that long for them as well, and they're renaming entire blocks after the Knicks. Yeah, that's a stupid debate that we're now having then because they had the debate.
Yeah, it's just wild. It's just wild. I can't believe that. I mean, yeah, the Giants just recently won. They have the most famous like Super Bowl win ever. You beat an undefeated Patriots team. I can't think of a bigger Super Bowl in my lifetime than that one.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I think football being a bigger sport, I could see the logic of saying, people care more about football if you just go by the ratings of it. But that's not how fandom and that's not how sports writing works either.
Speaking of loser behavior.
There's hope. They got Aaron Glenn now.
He got Justin Fields. That'll be great.
Yeah.
He's going to run. I'm probably have a lot of him in best ball, if I'm being honest. By the way, if you guys don't know, Chris Spags covering the best ball streets. I'm curious, any takes you got for the people right on the outset? Because, well, we're going to be able to break down like 6 MLB games in 4 seconds.
It should be an easy slate to get through. I mean, my best ball streams are Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. For the love of God, please watch them because it is a little bit like swimming upstream doing best ball streams on the DFS channel, but we're making it work as best we can. And shout out to you guys who have watched. But I talked about George Pickens on there. He's been the big ADP riser from the move to Dallas. I'm not quite buying into that. Dallas's offense to me shouldn't be this explosive offense, given the guys they've hired there in particular. The Brian Schottenheimer head coach hire, that's a guy that's run only West Coast offenses with power running is a big featured part of it. I don't expect him to be a guy that's going to create enough offense for two leading pass catchers. So some of the things like that, I think, tend to be your best ball edge. But, MVS, as you know, that's that's where the money is.
Is he a Seahawk now? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, I believe that's where he is now. Yeah, they're going to be one of their deep targets because they don't really have any right now.
I was doing best ball rankings because, why wouldn't I do that? Like 3 weeks ago or so. I haven't touched them since then. There's a lot of things that need.
They're hard to do.
Yeah. Anyway, my whole point was that it was like leading into the NFL draft, or it might have been like right after. I can't remember, but I think it was before. It had to have been before. But the whole point is that I didn't even know. Like, I had to look up multiple times where multiple guys were, and then I just realized, like, outside the top 250. There's so many more viable options than we've had in years past. Like guys that I actually think you just correlate with your stack so many times. Like, I don't know, Sam Darnold, MVS. What's the problem with that, Spags?
I mean, look, I think it's reasonable. They do have a rookie coming in. I forget, I forget his name. Colorado State guy who had some knee injury. Torrey Horton. He had really good athletic testing as well. He's a big bodied outside receiver. That can matter. You do have Kupp coming in as well alongside JSN. So that's going to be majority where your targets go. And for Seattle too, Darnold's one of those guys with an injury guarantee in late years. So he could get benched if the team isn't playing well enough or they're not in the playoff hunt because you don't want to have the contract guarantees set in. So I'm with you. I think there's a lot of viable ways to win at best ball, but I hear MVS love, I think it paid off for you enough, I guess, or you made money off it at some point. You can keep going.
I got back to even-ish. Yeah. No, I'm still down.
That's it. Like, that's me with Karl Anthony Towns. Like, Towns to me looks like a great play today. His playoff rates have not been the same, but he made me enough money all regular season long. That's like, all right, well, let's go again, Cat. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, it's still a green sign in front of it for you. It's still a red sign next to it for me with MVS. It's sad times, but not sad times. The morning slate. Benny Tingman, yes, I ended up getting third in the queue, which just sucked. Just sucked.
It's the worst. To finish that close at a qualifier is rough.
I got third in the queue. I ended up making money, but it was just annoying. But yeah, Brown was not popping in the Sims as much as the field by a mile. I ended up with 30% Hunter Brown, and I ended up on a ton to Tampa Bay. Obviously, there were a lot of home runs you kind of needed to have late. You got Rushman, who kind of neutralized the catcher position. Lots of stuff that happened late, but great performance by the Sims tool. That is going to be what we work through here on this program. And I'm actually going to be focusing in because I'm playing one lineup today, because I have NBA lineups that I'm going to be firing up. By the way, NBA Live Before Lock will be coming your way at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah. I'm so dumb today. Don't listen to me. Anyway, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Greg, Josh, breaking it all down for game one of the Knickerbockers taking on the Indiana Pacers. We're going back to 1995, Reggie Miller. Oh, it's going to be beautiful times, beautiful times. I'm looking for a Tyrese Halliburton recreation. That would be awesome. But anything else to break down here before we dive in? And yes, I will get to our guy Clintwood's super chat, but he just keeps winning everything. And he keeps posting it in my Discord. And he makes me feel sad. It's like, I bubbled yesterday on everything. I'm mad.
I mean, it honestly is. It's nice to see. It also is frustrating to see all the Stokastic avatars that you'll see on top of tournament sometimes if you are making a run. Had the same thing for me yesterday in the 4-point play for NBA. Had some good lineups there, and it's like Stokastic guys ahead of you at every turn. But yeah, for MLB tonight, I will say for the single lineup sim, again, mentioned it last week, finished top 20 tournament on when I did a show with Eric. I built the entire lineup through the single lineup sim, and I did like it a lot because I had a little bit more control, was kind of able to build the team out the way I want, as opposed to what the Sims do, which I think are great if you are putting in a bunch of entries. But to me, the fun of baseball is trying to get those stacks right, trying to get your favorite players in the stack, guys you think have the best matchup. The single lineup sim gives you that opportunity more. And a slate like this one as well, where the sim is really pushing ownership to a few teams and really, I think, fading, at least the sim I ran before the show, fading about half the slate. It seems like the single lineup sim tonight can be really useful if you're trying to build your Philly stacks in particular, trying to find a way to get unique, your Philly and athletic stacks. Those two are going to be well represented sim wise. So your way to maybe get different from all the sim users to run a sim, but to do some little tweaks on it. And I think that's a good way to play MLB if you are doing less volume. We
got my guy Clintwood 83. I was just joking, of course, Clintwood. You just absolutely keep smashing. It makes me happy. Two of my favorite dudes in the biz, You're one of my favorite subs in the biz, probably my favorite. In fact, hope you're all doing well. We are. Who we like for DK Cash pitcher tonight? Thanks. You're very welcome. We're going to break that down. I think there's really three pitchers. One you're just clicking on, and he's at the top of your page. I'm not a big Garrett Crochet mega chalk type guy, but I think Garrett Crochet is pretty impossible to overlook for cash today. The SP2 is a little bit more interesting because of what Spags brought up, and I do think it has to factor in somewhat into our decision making. And I do think the game plays clean there in New York, but I'm thinking about that completely from a GPP perspective where like, all right, you're going to lose a lot of days in MLB DFS. Do I care that much about weather on a 6-7 game slate? Am I going to be really too gung-ho and like, beating the drum to fade it and hope that things break out that way? No, because you could just stack the game up on a clean day and it could go very, very poorly for you. And if other people want to hit eject for whatever reason, they're kind of missing out the path on that game environment as is. So how are you feeling about cash? Because Garrett Crochet, I think we agree SP1, but SP2, Tyler McGill, Jacob deGrom, where would you be looking at for cash today?
Yeah, for cash, I think it has to be McGill. I agree with you for deGrom. I mean, he's getting owned like he would be a cash game play with about 36% expected ownership by Stokastic. Again, I think that's a little bit hard to compute exactly what the human component of the weather concerns is going to be, especially if people see it, much like I did see it on Reddit, some other sites out there that you're pulling lineups from. But I think Crochet, very obvious with you on that, very obvious SP1 for your cash games today. And I think McGill, SP2, Yarbrough's got some ownership, and I could see just taking the cheap guy there and giving you enough room to get to the bats you want to get to. Some of the higher owned bats might be hard to get to if you were to play McGill and Crochet. But I think I would say it's probably first look would be Crochet and McGill. If you want to get a little cute, Yarbrough and Crochet, I think could be an interesting one.
Yeah, the Yarbrough one is going to be a tournament one for me for sure. I bet is over 3.5 strikeouts today. It's like plus 155 at BetMGM. I don't understand that. I really, really, really don't understand it. Other than the pitch count is obviously a concern, but he is cheap. He is 6,500 in tournaments. He's the only guy down there that I really want to be dealing with in any way, shape, or form. I mean, let's just get to the expensive side and start breaking down some of these pitchers more for a tournament perspective. But I have your exact line of thinking. It is Crochet, deGrom, McGill. Those are the only three you're entertaining for cash. And I think because of the savings, 8,300, I'd probably go down from deGrom to McGill today. It's terrifying. I know it's Boston and I know it's cash, but I think he's going to get enough swing and miss, and strikeouts count for fantasy points too. So he can give up a run or two and still be in really good shape for you. deGrom, it's a great pitching environment, but we look at Garrett Crochet. We talked about him at length. How much of him are you getting to today, Spags?
So getting a good amount of Crochet, got him in 55% of my sim lineups, top 150 I put together, Fields at 53. So, holding hands as far as the sim goes, but more than half the lineups is definitely a big stand. I'm okay with Crochet. I mean, I think the stuff's been really good. A 50% chase rate for him over the last couple seasons, 15% swing strike rate. A little bit of a park downgrade, or I guess, playing in Boston in general is not gonna be a great park is really the main thing, as opposed to if they were playing in Citi Field. But good run total here, 3.5 implied runs for the Mets. And the Ks for him have been really good on both sides of the plate, 14.2 Ks per nine versus lefties, 11.5 versus righties. So no matter, he's getting a lot more righties here, but if they do sub in some lefties for some reason at some point, I don't know why they would, it would look pretty good for him. Crochet stuff is great. Like, I think I'm surprised you're down on him, because I feel like he's one of those guys to me, like, I complain a lot about the fact we don't often have like the most live arbs on a slate. I think he's like top 10, top 15 most live arbs in terms of like swing and miss stuff and strikeout stuff.
Yeah, it's not that I'm down on him. It's just that he's going to always be popular on these slates. And, he's had one double-digit strikeout game the entire season so far. I mean, I know double-digit strikeout game, I'm kind of threading a needle into a very specific outcome that doesn't matter on a small slate. But, like, I just don't think the swing and miss stuff is as elite as what people are saying it to be. I thought last year it certainly was. And something could be said about a contract year. Something could be said about, wanting to get out of Chicago. And obviously he was saving up his arm. He didn't have to throw as many innings. So he was able to just chuck for some brief durations of last year where it'd be like, hey, 3 innings, abbreviated 65 pitch start. That's what we had for Garrett Crochet for like all of last season. And so when you compare year over year, he goes from being a 35% strikeout guy last season to 29%. And I think he's more of the 27, 28 type percent strikeout guy going forward. I don't think we're going to see the same type of strikeout upside that we saw last year, Spags, purely because when you have abbreviated starts, you can throw harder, you can be more specific. You don't have to face batters a third time through a lineup ever. It's just, I'm not saying it's cheating, but like I do think it's a very inflated strikeout rate year over year from last year to this year.
I think that's fair. I mean, look, I think too, some of the numbers you look at for him over the longer term sample, and like I've talked about on stream a lot when I do the shows with Eric, like a lot for my focus for MLB this year is trying to focus more on that longer term sample, because I feel like I get kind of caught as a prisoner of the moment with MLB in a way. It's maybe not the most helpful, researching the data and the fan graph stuff and what you want your sample size to be. The sample size is big enough over the last couple of years with 900 at bats. Obviously for this year, you're not really in that range where he's built up enough data to get there. But the thing that stands out is he's only getting contact in the zone 80% of the time. It's the lowest on the slate. So you're talking about, if you have shorter stints, you're able to throw a little more gas on those. You're probably getting a lower contact rate in the zone. Whereas if you're extending out more, pitching deeper into games this year, maybe you're not going to have that zone contact rate be quite as favorable. So I think there's some things that I could see where you're saying being a flaw. I still think if you look at the larger sample size, 32% K rate over the last couple of years, again, 900 batters faced on that, Ks per nine being good. Like, I think there's enough there to be good. The Mets part would worry me the most. Like, it's not an easy lineup he's going against. Only 4 guys that strike out above league average, which is an okay matchup, for a lot of situations. But a 196 cumulative ISO for these guys, park upgrade for them. I think it's not great things, even though the weather is not really great hitting weather.
Yeah, I think it's not great hitting weather, obviously. You have McGill on the other side of this one, but I'm not saying don't play Garrett Crochet. I'm playing him in my one lineup today. I'm just simply throwing out the awareness that if I were playing more than one lineup, I think that there's a lot of ways where I might try to trim 53%. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, do it with your own money. And so I'm not going to tell you what to go about doing. I definitely trust the Sims tool to kind of make the more informed decision than me on a whim. But I look at Garrett Crochet, 21 fantasy points. He looks pretty unavoidable. I'm happy, to play him in small field. He's going to be 60% owned or something like that. Happy to eat that chalk, get different elsewhere. And I've got plenty of spots I want to get different. The SB2 isn't even necessarily one of them, though. We've got Jacob deGrom going up against the Yankees, also inside of 50 degrees, raining. It's like a light mist more so right now at the moment, from it sounds like. Boots on the ground, if you will, boots with the fur. Jacob deGrom sitting there with 35.6% ownership, and the McGill, 28%. I really like the McGill side of this one because of the curveball changeup opportunities that he'll get with a very lefty-heavy lineup. And, I mean, obviously that can definitely come back and punish you, but I'm looking at upside and I'm looking at paths on, how do I finish at the top of this tournament? I think Tyler McGill is actually a better play at his ownership than what Jacob deGrom is, which I never thought I would say. Obviously, salary has a lot to do with it too. $10K for Jacob deGrom, $8,300 for McGill. But do you buy into McGill's improvements? Because I do. The Mets have been doing some unbelievable stuff with starting pitchers this year.
Yeah, I think for McGill, what I would buy into here is less so the improvements, because again, the longer term sample for him going back the last couple seasons is not that great. He's faced 1,100 batters, 42% hard hit rate is towards the bottom percentile of the slate, 40% chase rate also towards the bottom. That stuff's not good, but he's facing a lineup today with 6 guys that strike out over average, 24% aggregate K rate for him. I think that's the part that stands out to me, along with the fact that, pretty good shot for him to be a top pitcher today, 25% chance to be a top pitcher and a 23% chance to be the top pitcher value. So I do love when you give the takes about, guys pitch types changing and all that, because I think that's an insight that I worry about for myself. I would get too into the weeds on it. It would sort of distort the macro picture, which is what I'm focusing on. But I think for McGill, if you're saying there's positive things there, and he also has a pretty good matchup and a not bad run total against him with only 4.2. I think for McGill, there's a lot of things going for him, and he's, to me, the best player in that range, even though I think you can get weird and play some guys who are a little bit cheaper.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because obviously it's something I spend a lot of time on, but I don't do it to try to be like, oh, I should play more or less of this guy. For me, it's the reason I like looking into pitch type is, can I see a path to upside? Can I see a path where Tyler McGill strikes out 8, which would copy Jacob deGrom 6 or 7, and, just get leverage on a field? Like, if I can find a path to a guy, there's days that it's going to work out. Luis Severino, Merrill Kelly have gone very, very well for me over the course of the last week. Who went really poorly for me? Michael Lorenzen yesterday, having 20% of him at like 4%. That was not an enjoyable experience. So, like, there's going to be push and pull with like having pitcher data be something that you look into. But like, because data is so important at our company and it's such an important part of what we do want to harp in on getting the projections right, getting the ownership square. But depending on what contests you play in, you're going to see more ownership for Crochet and like single entry stuff. You might see less ownership on Tyler McGill because Jacob deGrom feels like a pretty easy click for people. There's just this push and pull effect that comes from just playing DFS every single day and trying to like not have like a no ball take, but like having extra layers to say, all right, I'm okay living with this decision, even if it goes against the grain. Like that's the kind of stuff that I've kind of like taught myself over the years to just be like, okay with losing because XYZ got murdered, but I thought mathematically they had a path.
I think it makes sense. And I think trying to understand the reason why numbers occur. I mean, for basketball, to me, knowing usage rate, assist rate, rebound rate, one of the most important things for me, because, fantasy points per minute, but you don't really know how that relates to the guys' usage and, how many shots they're getting up, how much they're killing a possession, and all of that. For baseball, I think knowing pitch types and all of that is definitely a way to see if like the guy's getting more effectiveness on certain pitches and then throwing them with more frequency, you kind of project that maybe his results will start to get better. But I'd say the results for him, to me, not the most impressive with the 1.5 whip over the last year and change. Like I think, taking a Boston bat or two against McGill, given the ownership, wouldn't be crazy. But I'm with you. Like McGill, I think, has some positives to go here. In particular, the data and the strikeout stuff, I think, for the opponents is just pretty soft.
Yeah, we're going to revisit Crochet for 1 second. Marco's bringing up the Mets are one of the toughest team in baseball to strike out for left-handers, sitting in the bottom 4 in striker rate. Does that draw concern for how owned he is or not really? So it always matters what other pitchers are on the slate because we're comparing him to other pitchers on the slate, not necessarily to baseball in general. Or, because it's like the Mets are at 20.2%. Arizona is at 16.5%, against lefties, but they're identically on the slate. So it'd be like second amongst all teams on the slate. But then you have to take into account that the Arizona Diamondbacks aren't facing a lefty. And so it's always like, all right, so their strikeout rate against lefties and then this against lefties. But I think what you have to look at is Garrett Crochet's stuff is going to supersede all of it. And we can inform that with like looking at sports books and seeing 7.5 for a strikeout prop, 6.5 juiced heavily towards the over. It's pretty tough to get away from that at 10-5 on this specific slate where DeGrom, it's not a great ballpark. It's good hitting or it's good pitching weather. Corbin Burns is in a disaster zone going up against the Dodgers. Kevin Gausman gets to go up against the San Diego team that has power and responsibility to hit it far and, doesn't strike out a ton. And JP Sears is in a little league ballpark. So like everybody who's on your screen right now, it just pales in comparison to Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can make the case for Sears and I think one other kind of crappy pitcher who's in a tough spot here in a little bit. So maybe somebody in Coors perhaps is on this.
Yeah, right I knew you were going to bring it up. I'm excited to talk about him because I think he's.
So I think there are guys you can make the play. Yeah, you made the case for other guys for sure. But yeah, like you mentioned, Crochet stuff is very elite. DeGrom stuff is very elite. And that's really the main thing too. It's one of the battles for me because I, as a player, as a DFS player in MLB, I tend to like going after matchups. I'm going after matchups again here. I've had my biggest runs in MLB DFS by going after pitchers who are just in a good matchup as opposed to have great stuff. But that's the choice is like pick pitchers who have great stuff and hope it goes well for them. The issue is that like the ownership is so high. Like I think it rewards you today to maybe not take the guys with the best stuff because DeGrom with the weather being highly owned, Crochet without weather but being incredibly owned against highly owned against a tough Mets team. It's a lot of ownership for two guys that I think have really tough spots against them despite having the best stuff in the slate.
Corbin Burns, he's up there taking on the Dodgers. I don't know what else to say. I mean, he had 10 strikeouts against the Rockies. Who else is going to have 10 strikeouts against the Rockies? A lot of Major League Baseball pitchers. It just is what it is. Corbin Burns' strikeout stuff has not been the same whatsoever this season. The hard contact's up, taking on murderers row of Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. Max Muncy will come back to life at some point in time. And Andy Pahe is having one of the more underrated seasons in all of baseball this year. I can't really make a case for him. And then Kevin Gausman, he's all right. And the splitter looks better this year than what it did last year, but I'm still a little skeptical here against San Diego. Any other expensive pitcher you want to get to? Because I feel like punting if I'm going to do nothing else up top here. I mean, for me, I'm playing one lineup, so it's Crochet McGill at the moment. I could talk myself into something cheaper if it gets me somewhere, but do you have any reason to roster Burns, Gausman outside of, hey, leverage is fun?
Yeah, I mean, I got no Burns at all in the semi-round before the show. I mean, I think the main reason you go to him is that he's a little bit cheaper. Again, his arm talent can win out against really good bats, but like you're taking on a lot of risk for it. If you're doing a 150 set, I think you're absolutely getting 10, 15%, maybe even 20% of a guy like Burns. But To me, if playing a couple lineups today or one lineup today is not going to be the move for me. Gausman, I'm with you. Same thing here. I think he's been pretty good. I think he's also gotten a lot better over the age of his career, where he's not giving up as much dangerous power, and that's a positive as well. But I agree, the matchup is not great going against San Diego, a team that should be getting a decent little power park upgrade going to Toronto. I don't love Gausman either. So yeah, I got Gausman close to the field at 13%, Fields at 16, but I got no Burns at all.
So why do you bring top Colorado from the fact that they had 26 versus Dodgers? Not saying it'll be good. How do you leave out that info? I didn't leave it out. It's baked into the projection. His projection is fucking shit. It's 12.24. You want to roster Corbin Burns as your point of leverage on this slate? Be my guest. But I think there are so many better ways to get different. It also was a roofed closed situation in Chase Field, which has not been the norm this season. They've been playing in a lot of outdoor environments. That's different than going into Dodger Stadium, which, by the way, is always outdoors. So there you go. I don't think they've had a rain delay in 2 decades or something stupid like that. I mean, you lived out here too. I can't remember, but I saw some stupid factoid about the Dodgers and no rainouts or something. It's an absurd clip. But what do you think about the fact that I ignored that Corbin Burns had a great start two games ago against the Dodgers because different spot? Completely.
Well, I mean, you'd be correct to ignore it because we should never worry about BVP data. There's not a big enough sample size. Again, look at FanGraphs. You want to have 550, 600 at bats. So many pitchers aren't seeing these players for that much amount of time. But yeah, look, Burns had a good game versus the Dodgers. He's capable of good stuff. It's what we talked about, talent versus matchup. It's a tough matchup, but he's got the talent. It doesn't mean you chase it the next time it's there for you.
Yeah, sorry, I had to click out of that. Anyway, I totally know. I love you too. I love you too. You're just fine. Don't worry. I was just simply bringing it up. Why do you bring up Colorado? That's my point. I brought up Colorado because he had 10 strikeouts against Colorado.
He beat up a dog shit team. That's noteworthy.
That's noteworthy, as opposed to, he's had 3 really good starts in a row, I think. I mean, he's given up 1 earned in his last 3. He's taking on the Dodgers outside, and it is warm. It is warm outside. Trust me, my dog knows. Anyway, we got further down here. JP Sears, Dustin May, Taijuan Walker, Ryan Yarbrough. We're getting into some dusty territory immediately. You want to talk about a fall off on a slate, Spags? I mean, we just fall through the roof here. And I don't even want to make a case for Dustin May anymore. I'm sick of this dude. I'm actually sick of him and Landon Knack and all these guys, these goobers who come up from Oklahoma City and have no business throwing Major League Baseballs at Major League hitters. Actually, they'd be better off throwing them at the hitters as opposed to around the plate, because if it's around the plate, Dustin May sucks. He is not good. He is way overrated, and I just can't stand him. But anyway, we also have Ryan Yarbrough, and can't believe I'm rostering him coming off of what? He's got a 75 pitch upside today, but hey.
Does he? I feel like he's got 30 based on his pitch count so far.
He's had back-to-back 65s.
Yarbrough? Did I misread that earlier?
Yeah.
I must. All right. You're the pitch count guy.
I'm the guy who looks at baseball slates for 48 hours. It's
so you have a lot of content
yesterday afternoon breaking this slate down, all the games, not just talking from a DFS angle, but more so from a betting angle. I'm just so sick of him. I'm so sick of him. Anyway, back to this. Anybody that you want to make a case for? Because I do have him boxed out. We need to talk about Taijuan Walker against Colorado.
Yeah, so look, I'm going to make a case for Sears and Walker. We could do Walker first.
Yes.
So Walker
is what I love to do for leverage.
Look, I love these shitty under 8K pitchers. It's been a weak spot for me in baseball for years, and it'll continue to be here because it does work out often enough. But Taijuan Walker, the stuff's not good. In fact, the numbers I would say would be downright worrisome. But for the first thing, Coors weather not fantastic today, 70 degrees. About 10 to 15% humidity is what I saw before the show. It's not fantastic Coors weather, even though it's as good as Coors always is. The altitude's the main thing. Blah blah blah. What would worry me with Taijuan Walker is that Christopher Sanchez is a much better pitcher. He got his ass kicked relative to a DFS slate. Gave up a lot of runs there. Still got the strikeouts, and his pitch count was good. He's a good strikeout guy, so he can have those warts, give up a few high, deep flies, and that's fine. For Walker, he can't do that because he's not good enough. He only averages an 18% K rate, 6.7 Ks per 9 versus righties, 7.3 versus lefties. It's not good. He gets hit hard a good amount at 42%. But what are we doing here? We're playing tournaments. The tournament you're playing for the upside. Colorado's awful. They have 8 guys in this lineup today, and you don't see that very often. 8 guys that strike out above league average in the lineup, aggregate K rate of 26.2%. It's as soft a matchup as you can get. So if Walker hits the good today, gets shelled another time against the better team, that's fine. He's not a good pitcher, but the matchup is soft, and I can take on the risk because people aren't going to want to do it. It's only 6% ownership expected for him.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying. It's a very terrifying spot. But JP Sears, Taijuan Walker, give me them if you're going to go to anything else in this range in large field. I can't do anything about the cock. I really can't. I don't know what you want me to do. What are we supposed to talk about here? You want to talk about also like good performances lately? This guy is just rabbit's foot in his pocket or something. 6 2/3 also against the Dodgers. So I'll bring that up for you, Trey. I got to just say, Kakanowicz did that. Do you want to roster Jack Kakanowicz? I surely do not. Spags, what are we doing here? These are the worst SP2s on a 7-game slate ever.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kakanowicz, I don't think offers a lot here. The strikeout stuff's not been there. Under 5 Ks per 9 versus righties, under 4 Ks per 9 versus lefties. That's not good stuff. He's getting hit hard a good amount as well. A 46% hard hit rate for him. Attacking the zone at a pretty good clip as well, 47% rate there. So Oakland's got a bunch of guys who can drive the ball at high exit velocities. 4 of the top 5 hitters all have 91 miles per hour or higher. So I don't think it's a great Kakanowicz spot relative to the park factors. Again, that athletics park that Eric has talked about at length here being a minor league park here that's going to allow balls to fly out pretty easily. Park factors have shown that so far. I don't think it's a great matchup for him. I think Kakanowicz would not be my guy. I'm stacking against him with the field, but the field's going to play the athletics a lot. So maybe that's your reason to play Kakanowicz.
Just wait until it is July 21st. And it is 105 in Sacramento, and it is 98 in Tampa. And you got to figure out bats, and you got gas cans on the mound. I'm telling you, these ballparks, I still can't believe people don't recognize how absurd they are. It's so hard to get away from playing every single slate. Like yesterday, you still had paths to playing LA, Oakland, or sorry, I always say Oakland, Athletics. Like you always have a path to play them as like 2 and 3 mans. You can 5 stack them with everybody else still, but we have Coors Field today. I don't think anything's going to get steamed up as much as it should on the LA Angels side of things. I think the Athletics are already the most popular team on this slate for good reason, but yeah, there's a lot that we'll get to when we get to the batter section of things. Anything else you want to talk about from a pitching perspective on DraftKings?
So Sears, I'm going to die on the hill of today with my lineups as well. Okay. He really worrisome stuff for him in the last couple of years. He's got a 49% fly ball rate. The park dimensions here can make those fly balls really dangerous if the team does get a hold of them. That said, another situation where you have 8 guys in the lineup that strike at above league average, 27.5% aggregate K rate. That's boosted a little bit by Matthew Lugo being bad in a small sample size. And frankly, he's got dangerous power that could go either way. He'll strike out or he'll hit a home run off of Sears, and either option I'm prepared for. But Sears stuff is not good. The matchup is pretty good, though. Run total for the Angels is a little more scary, I think, than the Colorado one, but 4.7 implied runs, we can live with that. Sears, I'm taking the shot on 2 guys under 10% owned, but Walker and Sears, I think, are worth exposure. And if you're playing the 20 maxes, you're playing 150 max, just get the stacks against them, play them a little bit. But if you're putting in one entry, take the shot and hope they find some strikeouts against our really soft matchups.
What did I say about the A's? I literally said you should be playing them all the time. I'm just saying they're insanely popular. I just kind of prefer getting myself to like 3-4 mans of, depending on my FanDuel. We'll get to the 4-man side of things as well. It's just little league ballpark. It's a little league ballpark. We need to play bats on it a lot, especially in the summer. I think they're going to be even more popular on slates going forward when we get the weather conditions that we get like 2 months from now. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk FanDuel. Garrett Crochet, Jacob deGrom, lots of ways to get different today. I don't think pitcher on FanDuel is one of them, Spags.
No, I mean, the weather risk, if you get absorbed with deGrom, I think you'll get rewarded more here because the ownership is not projected nearly as high. Only 10% expected ownership for deGrom on FanDuel, but a 13% chance rounding up to be the top pitcher. So I think he would be a guy if you're gonna take the shot on the weather and you feel comfortable with it. I would go DeGrom on FanDuel first and foremost over DraftKings. Besides that, I think the usual milieu of guys being overowned in that next tier, but Burns probably a little bit underowned on FanDuel. Looks like he has half the ownership of a chance to be a top pitcher. Sears pretty close to Burns as well on FanDuel with, I guess, a shot for a quality start there. I don't know. It seems iffy, but I don't know what he's got an 8.3% chance to be a top pitcher and Burns is 8.4. I know the Dodgers matchup is tough, but I like Sears. I don't like him that much. But I think, yeah, Sears, Corbin, Burns, DeGrom would be the guys that stand out the most to me on FanDuel.
You know what happened to Sears as a store?
Closed, right? Bankrupt?
It closed, and JP Sears is going to get closed. And I love JP Sears traditionally. I think he has decent stuff, but awful spot.
A lot of fly balls, a lot of barreled balls, which, but we take on the risk. That's tournaments. That's fine. Don't play it in cash. No matter what you do. Don't mortgage the house and play JP Sears in cash.
I don't think, God forbid something were to happen with that regard. But anyway, hit that like button. Let's get over 100 as we get ourselves into the stack department. We've got 21 minutes here on this program. As I said, hit that like button. Check out playback.tv/Stokastic. We've got Portfolio EV being shared over there. I'm sharing it in the next 21 minutes leading up to lock of the MLB slate. And then, well, you want to keep looking at it? 7-day free trial for all new users. It'll be on over on Playback as well during the NBA show. So you want to give that a look, give it a little whirl because it's fantastic. Portfolio EV is the best market-based tool in the entire industry. You have an opportunity to bet a ton of things. You don't have to have any knowledge in the NHL streets or the WNBA streets. If you've got it, awesome. That's great. We also have NBA, obviously, MLB, obviously. It is such a great time to be joining Portfolio EV, and it's a 7-day free trial for you to check out at the link below. That is good stuff. But let's say it's DFS that you want to be checking out more of. Well, we've got the path for that as well. Celebrating promo code PGA Millie. That's right. Dr. Rex Goodfellow. That is such a fantastic screen name. I'm so jealous of that. I'm just eLindy4. I'm a doofus. But Dr. Rex Goodfellow sounds very, very professional and fantastic. And, well, we're giving you a fantabulous deal here. Buy 2 months, get one free of Core All Access. It doesn't matter if you're looking for more MLB, maybe NBA as you're rounding out the season there, NHL, PGA, NASCAR, MMA, all of it together. The Core All Access bundle. 2 months, get one free. That is June, July, leading into August, and then it'll be NFL season. So use code PGA Millie down at the link below over at stokastic.com or wherever you are looking to get a package of Core All Access. Get all of those sports. Again, MMA, our MMA data has been awesome here of late here too. I've had some pretty good results there. NASCAR, I don't probably jump in those streets as much as I should, but two months, get one free, all over at Stokastic. All right, my friend. Now, let's get funky. Stacks. One to rule them all, one to find them. I have a 5-man. Do you know who my 5-man is?
Is it the Philadelphia Phillies?
It is the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay. Very brave take.
Yeah, I know. I'm very contrarian today, let me tell you.
I mean, yeah, Phillies run total came down a little bit, at least from where I pulled the data from. Came down by 0.1, so fade accordingly. But it's now them and the Athletics in the 6 run range, so that's interesting to note. But yeah, Phillies coming up a lot. People are asking about Palmquist in the chat a lot too. I was actually curious your thoughts on him, if you have any.
Well, he's got 5 identical letters to my last name. That's kind of cool.
You're a couple
Palm instead of Lind. I don't know which is cooler. I probably the Palmquist side of things, if we're just being dead honest. But I think we would have equal amounts of success throwing against the Phillies today.
Palmy's locks. It's going to be Palmy's leans, lines, and locks. Likes, not lines.
His palms are sweaty. Palmquist arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. Don't mind me.
Well, so Palmquist's going to get stacked a lot against today is the main thing. So for the chat, people are curious about him. His minor league numbers are pretty good. Like he struck out about 12 guys per 9 innings overall in the minors. So like he's got some stuff. The issue is like he attacked the plate pretty aggressively in his first start, 40% zoned pitch rate, 100% zone contact rate. So he just got hit a bunch, but he struck out dudes in the minors. My concern would be that he doesn't have the juice to have the same success in the majors. But that's what we're stacking against today, it looks like.
Oh yeah, we are. Weston Wilson, 3,800. It's nice that he showed
killed
up
me the other day.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, because I was like, he's got good pop and stuff. They just don't play him for more than 2 at bats, sometimes more than 1. It's stupid.
Yeah. Oh, it's also Weston Wilson, but
no, he's not great, but he's making contact. He's got good exit velocity and stuff.
And contact.
Yeah,
making contact. I almost bet his hit prop today, which is like, I don't know, minus 160 or something, minus 170 I saw. I've got it north of that, but then I also just kept my money. I kept living my life. Got to keep those home run dollars. Got to keep them when they come your way.
You're hitting. I saw.
What was
Twitter graphic popping off.
Well, I'm doing work. I'm doing the Lord's work as much as I can. Dude, it has been 3 weeks. I'm up 2.5 units. This guy's like, go kill yourself. I'm like, oh, okay. You shouldn't see me on a bad stretch, homie. Like, home runs are volatile. That's the nature of it. But I'll win you money long term. I will win you money long term. Oh,
you will.
Hate people. I could also not win you money long term if I take his advice, but whatever. We're not going to do that yet. Anyway, we got a lot of other spots that we can look at on this slate, and you brought it up before. The Angels, yeah. Oakland or / the Athletics, yeah. They definitely make some sense. I mean, how do we even like manage this? Because they're going to be over 30% of the ownership on these slates as 5-mans. Angels or Athletics? Choose your fighter.
Yeah, I mean, I would choose the Athletics. They have the higher run total. I think the pricing's pretty reasonable. And again, JP Sears, I think, has some very obvious flaws that feel dangerous to play him, but there's enough downsides to this lineup with the strikeouts that they do create that I think, that's my concern point. But look, if you're playing a bunch of lineups, playing a 20 max, playing 150 max, I think you're playing some Angel stacks. I would say playing some Sears. Athletics, though, I think are very much in the hunt to be in your, to be your 5-man in a single entry in one lineup you're putting in the big tournament. I just love the price tags for these guys. I like the fact that you have, Butler pretty cheap up top. Soderstrom's got pretty good power as well from the left side of the plate. He's cheap enough. You have some decent value for Nick Kurtz later in a lineup and did a home run yesterday. Don't want to chase that, but he's got good pop overall, so I think that can work out well. But I like the A's a lot. I think they're my favorite stack. Got them sim-wise. 25% of my 5-man stacks are in fact A's.
It's just absurd how good they look. I mean, they look absolutely absurd today. They just do. I don't know what you're supposed to do other than like play that game environment. They're my 3-man. I'm just playing them. What else are you supposed to do? We just have to play this game environment nonstop until people start recognizing it for the ballpark that it is. Plus, we have so much power. And I mean, what's frustrating, like on FanDuel, you can play Shea Langoliers and you can play Logan O'Hoppe in the same lineup. I'm probably going to end up betting them both to home run again when it's all said and done. And shorter numbers again. Bet them yesterday. Going to bet them again today. Haven't yet, but I bet just the Langolier side of it so far. But my God, it's just a ridiculous spot. But now we get into the dusty territory of this entire slate. If we're not going to roster up Coors with the Phillies, if we're not going to roster up that great game environment, where the hell else do we even want to go today, Spags?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of spots to love as much. I would say in terms of the ownership I got, the Blue Jays would be the one to try against Randy Vasquez, who did very great again the last time we had him, but this is how these slates go. He was a good pitcher on one slate. Now he's got a matchup against Toronto. They don't strike out very much. The park factor is going to favor some home runs at Rogers Center as well. And 5 runs today, 5.1 runs for Toronto in the implied total. So that's all positive. But Toronto stack, I think, looks pretty good. I actually got a lot of Ernie Clement because of the $2,500 value at second base. Maybe not my favorite power player to have, given that he has under average power, under average hard hit rate, exit velocity, the whole thing. Good launch angle. But he's not a player I like very much, but he does make lineups work. I think that the Blue Jays are going to be a team you get pretty often if you're running the sim and you're straight fading Philadelphia, straight fading the Athletics. I think Toronto would be number 3. And yeah, I guess it'd be number 3.
I mean, I think Colorado is kind of interesting. No, it's the other team in Coors, and Taijuan Walker was a gas can last year. He's looked better so far this year, but like, I think if you told me I had to pick one team at current ownership that wasn't one of those top 3, Phillies, Athletics, and LA. And by the way, our data, top stack percentages, Philly 26% of the time, Athletics 16 and change percent of the time, Angels 9%. Over 50% of the time, one of those 3 have the top stack of the day. So like, it's an actual dog to pick anybody else by like a considerable margin. Like the entire field is a dog by a considerable margin to those 3. But Colorado against Taijuan Walker is like sitting there sub 10%. Toronto's more popular. Dodgers, I don't know how you get to them with the pitching options outside of just getting one off Ohtani and, maybe filling in some real weak bats. Dalton rushing season, even though he's pretty good. Arizona against Dustin May, I wish. Very expensive again at the top tier of it. And I mean, Boston against McGill sounds great for leverage, but I just can't really do it anywhere else on the board today.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the Rockies I'd be able to do. I think the Rockies and the Angels would be two teams I'd go to right away if I were not playing Sears or Walker in those lineups. I would try to get the alternate stack or the opposing stack right away. For Colorado, not a lot that you love with the bats here. Again, 8 guys that strike out over league average, high cumulative K rate at 26.2%. But you have some pop. I mean, McMahon in particular hitting from the left side of the plate should be able to do damage. And Walker's getting up a 193 ISO to righties, a 180 ISO to lefties over the last year and change. There's certainly the ability to create extra runs there. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Colorado and the Angels will be my second tier of stacks. But I think it's a pretty clearly defined first tier where you should be getting the Athletics, Philly. And honestly, I guess the Angels have a high enough top stack rate that they should probably be pretty close to that tier, though. In my mind, Toronto, I'd put a little bit ahead of them.
Okay. Yeah. Toronto a little bit going up against Vasquez. I really don't find him appealing as a major league pitcher. I thought he was all right out of the pen at times last year. He's primarily just throwing that cutter and doing whatever with it. Gets lit up. I don't know how he has a 3.45 ERA this season. No clue. But cutter sweeper, it's just a weird, I don't know. He's throwing the cutter way more than he did last year, and it's apparently been livable. But it has a 302 batting average against it. It's got a 473 expected slugging against it. It gets no swing and miss. I mean, Vasquez is a walking bullpen practice or what is it? Batting practice in general, but like Randy Vasquez, I think he's just doing enough to limit it where it's like, if you told me I had to, play all of Toronto or none of Toronto, give me none all day on this slate.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's enough lefties in the lineup too. They will get a little more favorable matchup for Vasquez, who's at a 3.5% home rate, run rate versus lefties compared to 2.2 versus righties. But the main thing is that, Toronto, and it's small sample size only this year for the park factors, 42% positive home run park factors in Toronto's Rogers Center so far. So, it's been playing pretty fast this year. Vasquez probably give up more home runs than usual, but I agree. He does limit, the hard stuff for the most part. Fly ball rates, basically average. So, not a player I'd love to target, but Toronto's in strikeouts, so they're probably going to make Vasquez get more trouble than he would normally.
Patience, Iago. That's what I must say to this. Home run dongers. I haven't heard dongers as it, but yes, patience. We will get there to the home run portion. Anything else on DraftKings that stands out to you in terms of stacks, guys, that you want to get more of, less than? Because I think the data is speaking for itself. Play the Little League ballpark and play the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, sim-wise for me, I got no Texas, got no Arizona, got no Red Sox, got Angels, no Padres really, no Mets really, barely any Yankees, and the weather would still be a concern there for me. It really is, I think, a pretty defined chalk slate, projected slate. If one of those guys hits, one of those teams hits, I think you're going to be relatively on an island in ownership.
All right, let's take one glance at FanDuel here, where you do get some interesting ownership on some individual batters that I find to be appealing. Shea Langoliers is very popular over there, batting second today. Moving on up, 3K over there. He is very, very popular. But I think Philly's pretty attainable there. Bryce Harper, 4,300. You're playing one pitcher. If you're playing Garrett Crochet, you still have more than enough salary to make things work. If you plug it in here, 3,025 per. I really have no issues in getting to the Phillies there. And one thing we've seen routinely, and I think it was Neil, it was a while ago. It was a while ago, Neil, but he had pointed out where it's just like, oh, FanDuel, you're going to get some of the stacks that get a little bit more ownership over on FanDuel when they're in cores. It was something that he had said a couple of years ago where it kind of stuck with me. And I was like, that's interesting. Pulled up the FanDuel slate today, and I thought it was one of those things where, I thought we would see crazy chalk coming in on Athletics in LA at their ownership. And it ends up being the Phillies at 19%. I think the Phillies are an even better play on FanDuel today than what they are on DK.
Yeah, only 19% ownership for the Phillies, expected in the top stacks tool, 26.5% chance to be a top stack. Again, you don't really see that often with a 4% differential there in terms of the leverage play. The stack score also very high. So yeah, Philly, it does seem like, I think you have to steer into it a little bit on both sites, though I did prefer the Athletics for my primary stack on DraftKings. For Philly on FanDuel, I think they're a much easier play to get in, and the data here seems to say that they're underowned.
Neil, me and my Minnesota Timberwolves, man. What the hell happened in the second half yesterday? I've been thinking about it all day.
Ant's banged up. They got McDaniels in foul trouble with some kind of specious calls, I would say. As also a McDaniels backer, he was the one thing holding me back in my top lineup that had Isaiah Joe and Kason Wallace in it. So like it was an Ant and McDaniels versus Holmgren and Randall swap. So yeah, Ant didn't help out, but they'll be better.
We gotta print like 50,000 free throw merchant t-shirts and just wear them to the game. I mean, SGA is really good. And what's sad is that, like, I think SGA is very enjoyable when he's playing basketball appropriately. But my God, I could not hate a basketball player more than I hate SGA yesterday.
He makes it look tough. But the Thunder are so talented. I mean, I think they're the clear. I don't think it's a brave take because they are now the market favorite by a wide margin, but they're the best team. It's just they played down the competition, I think, a little bit, especially in that Denver series. Felt like they should have probably beat them in 5. Instead, they dragged it out to 7. I think maybe they learned a lesson from that, and it might not be a good thing for Minnesota, who really didn't get tested too much in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, sitting on your hands at home for a week was probably not the best thing for them either. You get on a roll, you start playing good ball, and then Oklahoma City gets momentum coming off of, a contested game 6 that gets a little bit of resolve, and you run the table in a game 7, feel confident. You get to go back on your home floor the next day, same bed. Minnesota, it's not like you booked your travel until the day before and all of a sudden you're there. Not great. But you know what? You're professional athletes. You find a way to regroup. Hopefully we can get a better showing there tomorrow for game 2. Looking forward to that one. I'm sure everybody is looking forward to that one. I will be miserable in bed because I'll be sick in my stomach. I got a bunch of testing stuff tomorrow to do. So we won't get into that. We will get ourselves into your favorite portion of the program. And I know Spags' favorite portion of the program.
I'll take the cue. Dong of the day! Dong of the day! Spags is putting his hand up my butt. It's the dong of the day. This time, the dong exploding out of Eric's mouth. Big change. Dong of the day. Cha-cha-cha.
It's almost better that it doesn't have any cues or like automatic things that are working for it. But what it has working for it is your pizzazz. Your pizzazz makes it what it is. Friends, we have 5 minutes before lock, but there are many dongs that we need today. We need dongs all over the place. We need dongs in every part of our lineup, but Spags is going to give you the best dong of the day right now.
All right. My pick for dong of the day, I'm going to go Tyler Soderstrom here. Do you like the left side of the plate matchup going against Kokanovic? My concern is that the fly ball rate for Kokanovic is not the highest, but we have this high athletic total. I think Soderstrom has good power overall, 51% hard hit rate, 92.4 miles per hour exit velocity, the hardest hit on the team so far. So Soderstrom to me will be my pick, even though I think they're all credible picks on the Athletics up top.
Wait, what? Stop. Man, you're making Lindy look good.
Oh.
Ain't that hard, baby doll? Come on,
the puppet is it because I'm looking so bad or because the puppet was so great that now you're even better because you're like two peers, Rocky and Apollo? You and Puppet Lindquist?
Apollo gets his ass kicked second time around, let me tell you. First one, I'm the W. I get the W the first time around. Second time around, it does not go pretty for him. But then he has a great son. They start a new movie franchise. Everything goes correctly in its own place. Although, I mean, just don't fight the Russian. Don't fight the Russian. Go back in time. Just don't fight the Russian. Get to watch your son ascend to the top. Michael B. Jordan.
He died doing what he loved, getting beaten to death.
I feel like that's the one weird part about that sport, too. Like, you don't want to.
Did Eric freeze? Is this how this day is going to go? We didn't even get his dong pick. What is going on? Did I disconnect? Are we still here? Eric will come back. I know as soon as he can. He's really just building the anticipation for his home run pick here because he knows he's been hitting. I've seen his Twitter. He's up a couple units the last few days. That's Eric Lindquist for you. He's killing it with home runs, and now he doesn't want you guys to get that sweet intel. So let's give this a moment here. Let's see if Eric is going to come through for his pick. I'll talk some more, I guess. The Athletics think there's a few different home run picks you can make. Oh, he's coming back. He's loading.
I have returned. Here we are. Eric died doing what he loved. What a great comment coming off of that. At least he's smiling. I was. Spags here. He gone. He's back. It'll be Devers at lock. LOL. No, it won't be. It won't be Devers. Will not pick him whatsoever. We got Dalton Varsho. We got Ketel Marte. What's the odds on Max Muncy home run? Probably too short if you ask me at this moment in time. I heard you have to make contact in order for it to work. Chris Spags is such a pro. That's coming from a guy who's just a ventriloquist up my anus in puppet world, not real life. That will be the doctor tomorrow.
If I were still out there, who knows? The sexual chemistry.
I'm getting ready. I'm having my juice. We're just kicking it.
All right, what's her pick? What's the dong of the day?
Just give me the picks, Eric. I got a weird one. How does everybody feel about 3,100 Ezekiel Tovar? Now, I'm not going to bet it. I'm not going to beat Tovar. But I feel like you're talking about leverage on this slate. Like, it's not even leverage that you're getting against Taijuan Walker, but like at the position, shortstop, Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Francisco Lindor, even though he won't be popular because he's going up against Crochet. Bo Bichette's going to be pretty darn popular there. You look at the ownership that we have coming in at the shortstop position, hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body. Ezekiel Tovar, he's popular for a reason, folks. Ezekiel Tovar going yard for us. Makes it work for me. Brandon Doyle rules. Bregman, Varsho, all the good things. Beck home run. Man, a lot of Colorado thrown in here at the very end of the program. People after my heart. But you know who's been after my heart forever? It is Christopher Spags. Go follow him at Chris Spags. Go follow Splash Play over on YouTube. Check out Portfolio EV, 7-day free trial still rocking in the free world. We also have PGA Millie going for you right now. PGA Millie, use code PGA Millie. But Chris Spags gets the floor. Tell the people where to find you and all the great things you're up to.
Now, the big plug, go check out my best ball stream tomorrow. I won't be doing an MLB stream. I'll be focusing on that tomorrow. So please, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel, DraftKings Best Ball Draft, and trying to get some views on there so that show Stokastic that people care about best ball in May, even though, boy, they don't want to. They'd really prefer not to, but I'm going to drag them kicking and screaming here because we're now in the best ball summer. 3 months of drafting coming up with June, July, and August. So we're going to be doing some draft drafts.
What an actual time to be alive. I'd love to do some drafts with you. I'd love to jump on the stream at some point. I mean, I'm just in my chair every single day, not going anywhere. My dog sleeps now, just like laying on the ground.
Okay, we'll figure. I'll get you on there. You can give me all your football takes. I would like to get Stokastic people on to give their takes. I just don't want to embarrass anybody that's not prepared, but you're prepared for everything always.
Oh, I try to be. I gamble on a lot of things is probably the other part of looking at this. There's like 8 sports that I frequently like to dabble with. And again, golf. If anybody wants to join me tomorrow, we can go lose some money on Daniel Berger together. That would be very enjoyable. Daniel Berger to win Colonial for a second time. That would be very useful. But Chris Spags, go follow him at Chris Spags. I'm Eric Lindquist. Follow me there. Don't forget, NBA Live Before Lock. That is starting up in 45 minutes here on the same very channel. So I would say don't go anywhere, but you have 45 minutes, so go somewhere.
Don't go anywhere. For the love of God, just stay where you are. And don't be a bitch. Put your diapers on, sit here for 45 minutes.
He's Chris. He's funny. I'm Eric. I'm not. We'll see you guys. Greg and Josh coming up. 45 minutes. NBA Live Before Lock. See you then. Bye.